guys, I'm Colgan, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about and getting started with the RPM challenge. So what is it? Well, it stands for Record Production Month, and it's basically a challenge to write, record and produce an entire album within the month of February. So there are 4 goal options to choose from: a single, an EP, an LP or a box set. I've chosen an LP, which means I need to make 10 tracks or 35 minutes of music, whichever comes first. Before I get into the video, I want to mention a few things related to this channel. Firstly, since school is going back, I'm going to try and make a video once or twice a week. Also, my new album Undulating Waveforms just came out. You can listen to it here on YouTube or on my Bandcamp page, both of which are up here. If you enjoyed this video or find it helpful, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel. If you have any comments, feedback or ideas, make sure to leave them in the comment section. Anyways, let's get started. So my album Undulating Waveforms was just a collection of jams from the January challenge turned into full songs. My approach for this challenge is going to be somewhat similar. I'm basically going to spend an hour or so whenever I can and do alternating sessions of 1, jamming and coming up with song parts, and 2, arranging, mixing and recording them. So my recording setup is basically to plug the circuit tracks into my camera and take the audio straight out of there. I think it sounds fine, although I am planning on getting a mixer soon. Anyways, when I make jams, I basically just make maybe 1 or 2 song sections. So the arranging process is going to be very important for expanding them into full songs. Some of the songs on Undulating Waveforms were a little bit repetitive because I didn't spend enough time on this. Also, for this challenge I want to use some different sounds. All the songs on my last album were made with the same sample pack and the same 5 synth sounds. So the first thing I want to do is design some new sounds. Okay, so I'm here in Google Chrome. Unfortunately we can't use Firefox for components. But Components is the editing software you use for any Novation device. So obviously I'm using the circuit tracks, which means we're going to use Components to change the synth patches, swap out the samples, and move projects over. So let's go into the circuit tracks option here. So I've got 2 of my own packs. So I guess we're going to create a new pack. Okay, so we're going to need to turn on the circuit tracks in order to connect to it and see what packs are currently on there. So we can load in up to 64 samples, 128 different patches, and then we can also put in up to 64 projects. I don't think I want to reuse any of my old patches. I think I'm going to make them all from scratch. So in order to do that, you have to go into synth up here and go new patch, and here you are in the synth. So I think in this case, since I'm just showing sound design, that's a fine solution. I've just got the circuit tracks plugged into one of my speakers, so you can just hear that. I know it's not perfect, but I don't know, I think it's good enough, hopefully. So yeah, you can change parameters on here. You can assign these 8 knobs here onto different things using these macros here. If you want to listen to what you've got so far, it will come through the audio output on the circuit track. So the initialized patch isn't that interesting. So let's just try and create a sound. I want to make use of the wavetables in this synth engine. So now I'm just going to listen to some of the wavetables. So the sine table, oh that is. I don't like that. I think you can hear my bird. I quite like the analog pulse one, but we can listen to some. That sounds kind of cool. Like modulating the index. So maybe if we put an LFO on that. So we'll just put LFO 1, modulating the index. So I think the one we want on oscillator 2 is this analog sync one. So if we turn that up. put that on a different octave. So an octave up or an octave below. I think that sounds better, and we'll turn it down. In fact, we'll assign one of these knobs to the volume of oscillator 2, the analog sync. I think that sounds pretty good. And then we'll assign, we'll put oscillator mod on the depth of the LFO, which we do by going into modulation and LFO1 on here, so we put the depth down to 0. Oh, it's okay, and then we need to turn up this depth as well. I think I might slightly rearrange how this works. We're going to put the LFO on the modulation knob instead, which makes a little more sense. Number 1 can still be the volume of the second oscillator, but number 2 can be the index of oscillator 1. Then I can cycle through the entire wavetable. Or I can put an LFO on it. So now let's implement the filter. So we'll have it to bypass none. We'll make sure key track's all the way up. I don't know what key does. So let's turn the frequency all the way down and then put the filter frequency knob onto frequency, and now we can control the filter with a hardware knob. Now let's put resonance as well here. We can do things like that, have some filter sweeps. So now let's put an envelope on here. So let's put knob 4 on here. And change how much envelope 2 affects the frequency. So now let's go into envelope 2 and design it a bit. I think we can have a slightly longer decay. And then I think for the main amplitude envelope, bring the sustain down. We'll try and make it somewhat match this envelope. So we'll put it there, and then we'll let you make it higher using the amp envelope knob. That's pretty much, I think that's a pretty good synth sound. I don't think we want any noise. Yeah, no, the only thing we haven't added is effects. So what do we think this could use? Let's just try out a chorus. I think it sounds better with a phaser, so I think we'll keep that, and we'll just put the level on the effects knob. So we'll turn the level all the way down and put the effects knob here. Honestly, I can't see myself using this for chords, so I think I'll put it on mono and put on a little bit of portamento. Yeah, something like that. So that's the first synth sound done. I think it works pretty well as both a bass and a lead. So we can just save it as a patch using this button, and then we can put it in the pack. So there are 3 other patches that I want to make, which are an acid bass sound, which that can sort of do, but I want to make a dedicated acid bass sound, and 2 super saw patches, one in mono, one in polyphonic. The reason for that is that these are just sort of the staples of electronic music, basically. The next video that I'm going to do, which should be out a few days after this one, is going to be how to make some of these staple electronic music sounds. Anyways, so now that we've made our first sound, and I also put Gabe Miller's free drum sample pack on the circuit tracks in the samples section, so we've just got those drums, we got the one synth patch we just made. I'm going to go make a song, and then when it's done, I'll show you. Okay, so I finished making the song, so I'll just do a little sort of performance of it, and then later, probably later today, I'll do a sort of arrangement, mixing, and recording session, and then the first song will be done. So let me just show you what I've got so far. Okay, so it's the next morning, and I've done three main things last night and this morning. So the first one was I added a bunch of effects. So I've got this reverb. I don't know what the specific parameters of each one are, but I've got this fourth reverb here. A little bit on the bass, a bit more on the lead. There's a little bit on the kick drum and quite a bit on the snare slash clap. And then we've got delay, so we've got a little bit on the bass. I think there's also a little bit, yeah, there's also a little bit on the kick here, and then there's quite a bit on the hi-hats. When I press this button, it toggles all the effects at once. So I'll just play it and then I'll turn the effects on and you can hear the difference. So I think it adds a really nice character and some more depth to the sound. The second significant thing I've done, which is not really that significant, is just to mix everything a little bit more. It's still not that great, and I'm not incredibly good at mixing, but I've panned things around a little bit as well. The last thing is I've added a new section. So we've got these two, which are the new sections. So it starts with just this kick drum thing, and because it's on its own, you can really hear that delay. And then it's got this clap thing at the end, the two claps, and then it transitions into this, which has just the basic drums. The hi-hats, I did something sort of interesting. The clap, very basic pattern. Drums also, the kick drum also a pretty basic pattern. And then it's just got the bass just playing. It's just going. So here, an octave up and then to the fifth. And then the lead is sort of like playing off of it, and once the bass sort of finishes, it does like just sort of little arpeggios and just sort of quick jumps around and stuff. So those are the three things: effects, mixing a little bit, and a new section. The other thing is I've just sort of thought about how I'm going to arrange it. So we've got three sections. This sort of intro into the main chorus section, and then we've got two different B sections. This one and this one. So I was thinking with this one, it's just sort of, this is the exact same thing. All that comes in on the second half of it is the hi-hats. So I was thinking during this section, I could slowly low pass it down with the master filter. And then during this section, because I don't know why, I guess my brain just sort of thought hi-hats, there's more higher content. So we could high pass up and there'd still be a bit more there going on. So it could sound something like this. Obviously, that's a little bit more exaggerated than I would actually do it, but that is still kind of the idea of what I want to do. And then just for the transitions, I just use like high pass and low pass filters a little bit. So for example, in this section going from here to here, well this one is going to have the slow low pass filter. So I could anticipate that a little bit and start filtering it down a little bit early. Like that. And then the same going from here to here, it's like my natural instinct when I'm doing transitions is just to do that, a really aggressive high pass filter into the transition. But in this case, since I'm already doing that slow high pass movement, that actually makes a lot of sense. And then in this last one, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Obviously, this first half of it is almost entirely bass, but in this bit, maybe going from here to here, I could just do a filter sweep up and then into the new section, or into the old section. So that's pretty much it for the arrangement. I'm gonna go record a final version, and that will be my first song for RPM. I don't think I'm going to show you the final version in this video. I'm going to leave that for when the album actually comes out. So if you want to take part in the RPM challenge, which I highly recommend, it's a great challenge, and it's not a competition, it is just a challenge. So if you don't have a high quality recording setup, like I definitely don't, you can still take part, and just the whole point is just to see if you can write an album in a month. So if you would like to take part, you can click this link up here to register, and you'll be listed on the website, and then when people want to find your work, they can. So you can link your Bandcamp or Spotify or whatever you have, wherever you're going to share it. And the other thing is you should join their Discord server, which will also be up here somewhere. It's just a great community. You can get feedback on your tracks, you can get advice, and it's just a great community to be involved in. Other than that, that's pretty much it for this video. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, found it entertaining or helpful, make sure to leave a like. And if you would like to see more, then consider subscribing. If you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, leave them in the comments section. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! So if you would like to take part, you can click this link up